guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you guys a story time video. So this is basically my story and experience with bullying. So let's get right into it. So for some background information, growing up I did not live in New York City. I actually lived in a small town in Rhode Island, and it was predominantly white people. And there were some minorities, but obviously I'm Asian and there were not so many Asian people, but that's just some background to be aware of. So basically when I was in middle school, I feel like that was when I really had my first experience with bullying, because I feel like there was some bullying in elementary school, but more of it started happening in middle school. I'm assuming it's because in my town there's the most kids in middle school and high school. Not really sure why, but that's when it starts happening from my experience, at least. Like when you're younger, everybody's nicer for some reason. I'm not sure why. But when I grew older, basically I noticed that a lot of kids would make racist jokes and stuff like that. But, so actually, like, I've always been really, like, a sensitive kid. Even though I'm sensitive now, but it's gotten better, I think, over time. But basically, as a kid, when it started in middle school, a lot of people kind of, like, made fun of Asian people. And they would say that we ate cats, and then, you know, that they would slant their eyes with their fingers, and they would just say a lot of comments. Actually, honestly, it was like every day somehow in my grade. Every day kids would just make fun of Chinese people or like Asian people, and it really hurt my feelings. And then like that hurt for a little bit, but then like it got way worse in high school actually. So fast forward to high school, I pretty much was always not very well liked, because I feel like I was always an outcast. But back in high school, I do recall that I had a crush on this kid. We'll call him Andrew. I don't know. So basically, I had a crush on Andrew. And I remember I had a crush on him for a very, very long time. And I did not realize this, but I was bipolar and I had something called schizoaffective disorder. So the schizoaffective disorder is basically a hybrid of bipolar disorder and schizophrenia. So basically this affected me a lot because I hallucinated a lot of things. That's like the main problem with the schizophrenia part. You start hallucinating a lot of things and thinking things that are not true. So basically, I would hear voices and have delusions and feel things and hear things that just weren't there. So in my mind, I thought that Andrew liked me. So this was going on for a very long time where I thought he liked me. And I liked him too. I thought he was really cute. So the issue was that none of it was really happening, but I thought it was. So I didn't know. Basically, when these type of things happen, you kind of can't differentiate from reality because you're hallucinating a lot. So a lot of people thought I was really weird for it, because one day I did something that was very strange. So Andrew was on my bus, and so I kind of like knew where he lived, kind of. Like I knew what street he lived on, because when you go on to the bus, basically kids get dropped off at stops, and stops are basically the street you live on. They don't take you all the way. Sometimes they do, but most of the time, whatever kids that live on that street, they stop on that stop. But anyway, basically, I remembered I went to, there were a few kids on that street, and we'll call his neighbor Matt. So one day, like, we all lived near each other, but obviously I don't know them. But so basically, one day I was riding my bike and I decided to go to see Andrew. But the issue was, like, he doesn't really know me, but I thought that he liked me and that we had a thing. I don't know. I know it sounds really weird, but this is a true story. But anyway, so I tried to find Andrew, but then I went to Matt's, did I say his name is Matt? So his neighbor, Matt's house, we'll call him Matt. I went to Matt's house because I thought maybe Andrew was there, and then basically Matt opened the door and then told me where Andrew lived. And basically then I went over there and I don't totally remember what happened, but I remember Matt, his mother was there. Andrew, his mother was there. Andrew's mother was really upset because I think, like, maybe he had a girlfriend at the time. I'm thinking that's what it was, because I can't remember too well right now, because it was, like, obviously I'm 31 and this was when I was like 15 or something like that, maybe 14. 15, 14. But anyway, basically what happened was she got really angry and, like, she kind of, like, tried to make me go away. But then I'm pretty sure, like, that didn't stop me because I was still having my hallucinations. And then I went back again at some point, and then I think, like, at some point the mother had called the police on me, and then the police took me back to my house, and then, like, basically shortly after that we found out that I had to go to the mental hospital because I was hallucinating. So yeah, I had to go to the hospital and get medicine basically to fix my hallucinations, and obviously, like, monitor my mental health, because the way schizoaffective disorder is when you're very depressed and stuff like that, it triggers hallucinations. So being bipolar definitely didn't help, and, like, kids not liking me and me being really unpopular definitely didn't help. So I was pretty depressed on a regular basis. So after that, when I went back to school from the mental hospital, a lot of people, like, my popularity kind of, like, not that I ever had any popularity, but it kind of, like, plummeted even further. People kind of, like, if they didn't like me before, they hated me now, or, like, they spread so many rumors about me. Basically, people would say that I went to jail and that I was crazy and all these things. I was, like, literally the talk of my grade. I was famous in my grade, but not for good things. People just made fun of me, and I was, like, literally a laughingstock. Like, it was really, really bad. Like, I didn't have any friends at all, and people would literally, when I tried to ask questions to people, they kind of, like, got annoyed at me. Like, how dare you talk to me? People were just so disgusted by me. They didn't even want to, like, talk to me. And, like, I did have, like, a few friends before that, but even they didn't want to be friends with me anymore. So it's, like, kind of crazy that, like, high school people, like, I mean, like, I get that people want to fit in, like, so I don't blame people for deserting me, or, like, I mean, it's weird for me to not blame people, but I kind of get it. But it's, like, it was pretty hard on me, because, like, pretty much no one wanted to have anything to do with me. It felt like I wasn't human to people. So I was, like, honestly super depressed, and honestly it's a little, like, emotional thinking about it for me, because, like, people just didn't care at all. And I just remember even my teachers, like, I didn't feel like they cared either, because, like, for the longest time, even before all that happened, kids would make fun of, like, you know, me for being Asian or whatever, and nobody ever did anything about it. So Um, to the point where when I started having these worse problems where people were saying I went to jail and whatever, um, it was pretty unfortunate for me because no one liked me at that point, and everyone was just too embarrassed to be associated with me or like talk to me, or they would just be like annoyed if I even like uttered a word to them. And people were just pretty mean to me, and it was just normal. It was normal. That was my day to day, and they actually switched me out of regular classes because I was suffering so much, and I had to go to, I mean, it's like kind of like special education, sort of, but not really. It's for kids with issues. So I had to go into classes with kids with issues. So mental illness was part of it, but I mean, it was pretty depressing. Like, I feel like if I wasn't depressed before, I was definitely incredibly depressed after that. It was, like, the bullying was honestly so bad that my mom at some point offered to transfer my school, but I took too long to decide, so it never actually happened. But, I mean, yeah, it was very, very hard on me, so, yeah, I don't know. I remember when I went into the cafeteria, I would be, like, alone all the time and just sit alone. And I mean, it was probably from watching Mean Girls, but I actually did get the idea of sitting in the bathroom to eat my lunch, which I had done it a few times. Because for me, I was, like, so embarrassed to just be in the cafeteria completely alone, sitting alone. And it really hurt that no one liked me. It's honestly emotional thinking about it, but I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not upset about it anymore, but the sad truth is the depression and trauma had like basically followed me until I was an adult. And I feel like it was very difficult for me to make friends even in college. Like in college, like basically all of my schooling, I've never really had many friends and always been I was like very paranoid person for a very long time. And I always just felt like people didn't like me. And to this day, I actually don't have very many friends. Like, I kind of like even sort of avoid having friends because I somewhat don't trust people. Because I've had a lot of like bad experiences even as an adult. But I think like the beginning was definitely starting from when I was in high school and barely had any friends and felt like no one cared. Like, I do remember when I was in high school, I felt like if I had died, it would just be gossip as usual because that's pretty much what my high school time was like. Basically, like, the worst of it was when people just spoke badly of me and, like, hated me, and it felt like no one loved me. It honestly felt like nobody would have cared if I had commit suicide. And I actually did try to commit suicide in high school a year later, and then I had to go back to the mental hospital as a result, and it was very hard on me. So I just, that's about the story from my high school, but I just think this is a really important story to share because, you know, bullying is very, very serious, and I think that, like, people really need to know that it affects people, even long term. Like, some people really do carry the bullying, trauma and depression all the way into adulthood, and that's basically what happened to me. I'm very fortunate, and I can totally see that now, but I was fortunate even in my adult life, and I couldn't see it because I was just so depressed and always thought no one liked me. So anyway, basically, I know I'm a very fortunate person as of today, but for a very long time, I was not able to see any fortune that I ever had or happiness or like the fact that my family was so loving to me and that a lot of people did care. Like, for a long time, I didn't see it because I was just so traumatized by how much people didn't like me and how much people didn't care about me. And even like having mental illness, it's difficult because you are not going to be a easy person to be around. So it makes it worse because you think, well, I'm so problematic. How could people really stand to be around me? It just really makes you feel like people don't care about you. Even the people that love you, like, I understand that now that people love me, but when I used to frustrate my family, for example, I felt really awful about it at the same time, and I just felt like I hated myself and everyone hated me, and I just felt like, what was the point in living? And for the longest time in my adult life, I just felt like it wasn't worth living because I didn't know what I was looking forward to. But nowadays, I definitely think I'm a lot more recovered from back then, and I'm extremely thankful today. But yeah, that was the story, and I hope you guys enjoyed my story. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a nice night.